I have ADD, so sometimes it's like I'm just talking a whole bunch.
No, because then I was also thinking, because I've been posting the replays of the mixers to Modern Women's YouTube page. Like that was the place that I chose to like store
Oh,
the
okay.
videos, because for Medium it was just like getting weird. Like I couldn't like store them there. So I'm like, the next best thing I know is YouTube. So I started storing them there, and I thought that this could be like a really great addition to it, in addition to
Yeah.
me doing a write-up and, just serve two purposes and kind of repurpose content and just kind of like have fun and just, allow
Yeah.
people to get to know us a little bit better and get excited about all the amazing things that we're doing.
Yeah. I think it's a really good idea. It sounds really fun. I have to interview someone, and I've never interviewed like for writing purposes or any
Okay.
purposes. But, except for like work, like interviewing for like I was a manager at retail, so I would interview people, but like
Nice.
I've never like interviewed for an article before, and I will be doing that next week. So I thought like this will be like a really good experience. I'll get to see someone else do it to me. So
Cool. Well, I hope I do it justice. I have I have interviewed people in the past, not necessarily for writing purposes, but just, kind of like, what are you doing? And just kind of getting to know them a little bit better. And people generally have fun. I feel
yeah,
like we always have fun. So I'm like, why not?
yeah,
Because when I initially joined Modern Women, and I was, approached by Megan, I kind of fell in love with the idea of kind of bringing back the sense of community. And since I felt like Medium was already a community, I was
yeah,
like, why not?
yeah,
And just kind of like go for it. And here we are. So
yeah.
that's just like my premise behind it. I felt like it got lost in the sauce somewhere, and I'm like, well, I know I'm one person, but it's just like a trickle effect. And if I can do anything to help anybody or just be like an encouraging word, then why the hell not? Because this world is crazy as it is.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, and it's like we can't just like obviously as writers and creators, we can't just put all of it on our shoulders like, oh, I have to like put this content out. I have to do this so that everyone is feeling like this vibe. But like if you do that, it's so much. Like
Yeah.
it gets you really quickly.
Yeah. So
But
yeah.
that's why it's great that there's there's a community of us of editors.
Yeah.
Like someone else is going to be doing it too.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the more the merrier. We just
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's frozen. Can you still hear me?
take it and go. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, it just cut out for a second, but I can see you again. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. And you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so how long have you been an editor?
I've only been an editor. Well, actually, so for Modern Women, I've been an editor for a few months,
Cool.
but I started my own blog for survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence about almost 2 years ago, and I've been editing content for that, although it is mostly my own content.
Okay.
Uh, I have submissions, or I go through submissions. It's basically just like a Me Too blog.
Okay.
Uh, and I put mutual aid on there too, like financial aid, just to get like a sense of community and like advocacy as well, because I mean, I don't have a huge following, but
It's okay.
it's there. If someone sees it, you never know what could happen. And it's for the community. So I've been like editing those submissions, but I mean, in that kind of blog, I'm not really heavy handed on the editing. I'm
Okay.
very like, this is their voice, this is how they want to tell their story. So
Yeah.
but this experience with Modern Women, it kind of just like, it felt really like I eased into it. It was super, like it was seamless, the way that Megan welcomed me in, and the community did as well, and all the women on the chat. It's just been very easy.
Well,
And
I can appreciate what you do with your blog, because I have had I've been, well, I can say it, I'm a domestic violence survivor myself. And I know when I was going through my time period, it was kind of weird how quickly people like kind of turned on me and I became like the villain. So I was like, wow. And and it was like the feedback that I was getting from were people that I've known for a few years and had personal relationships with. So I was just like, this is strange. To be on the other side of the coin. And it's like, well, why are you pointing the finger at me? But I guess that's just the way society has it set up, that someone has to be at fault and take the blame. And it's usually the person that got assaulted. So
oh my God,
thing too. It's one day, hopefully, I pray that that'll change and it'll be different. So kudos to you. And the name of your blog, is that I think I seen it on your profile. Was it Blogging Out Loud?
So what you're thinking of, that's Say It Loud.
Yes.
That's another organization in the UK.
Nice.
And that's women run as well. And she I know, like, personally, the CEO, she created it like 2 years ago. I blog for her. So I blog on her site, but she's just like running it. There's a team of amazing women, and it's just like I can't even like explain the work that she's done on her own. She just built that from the ground up. But she did something similar to like what you do with your creating, and what I do with my blog. Like she was a survivor, and she said, you know what, I'm gonna make this. She started with an Instagram, just like a platform for people to be educated about survivors and victim blaming, and like cultural ideas, and like toxic myths about survivors. So just like educating the masses, and also offering them a place to talk about. So she has support mentors where people can chat, like survivors can chat with support mentors. So yeah, she's amazing. And so I blog for her. But my blog is called Eternal Metamorphosis, and it's on WordPress. Nice. So that's separate. I have like so many different projects. It's like I can't keep track.
It's okay. You're a creative being, and if you're not creating something, then what are you really doing in life? You got to contribute some way, somehow. So
exactly.
No, you just go with the wind flows, and you just just hang on to that vine and just run with it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So when you're editing, what is it? Are you looking for one specific thing, or can you talk a little bit about what your process is when you're editing to kind of like make one sound amazing?
Yeah, so that was something when I started with Modern Women, I had to learn a little bit, because as I told you, my style was more like letting the essayist or the writer, just like their voice, like their authentic like storytelling come through. And sometimes I could say like, oh, that's not like the way that I would do it, but like I would ultimately just say, that I'm still going to put it up authentically, like the way that they put it. So, but for Modern Women, it's a little different, because that's not my public, like I'm part of the editing team, but that's not my vision ultimately. Right. So I wanted to adjust my my style to Megan's vision. And so I talked to her about what her standards were. I hope that I follow them, but I basically will kind of incorporate my vision of like, it might not be the best way to say this, but this is coming from her heart. But also like I'll offer like the tips, and like tell them like, oh, you could say it this way, or oh, this might, especially with like spelling and grammar, I might just edit something completely, like if it's on the editing software, if it's coming up red or something, I'll just say, oh, I changed this, this, and this.
Okay.
But if there's not like a whole lot coming up red with the editing software,
Mhm.
and it's succinct and it sounds like it's telling a story to me, I'll basically just be like, well, good job, like we're gonna put this on. Like it seems
Nice.
like Megan's vision is pretty similar to my style as well. So I think that's why I was like a good fit for the publication, is because she's very like lenient about that kind of thing. It's just there are certain things we have to follow. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. To kind of just keep it real, but not offend anybody, for the lack of a better word, either like
Right.
going left or right. So that's
Exactly.
completely understandable. I get that. So what kind of content actually inspires you? Like when you're surfing around, does any one thing jump out at you that's like, yes, I want to jump on this?
Yeah. Well, actually, finding my niche has been super, like, I'm all over the place, but I do find that I gravitate towards like the stories of women, just like storytelling in general, if it's like a personal narrative.
Mhm.
My guilty pleasure is definitely like entertainment and gossip and pop
Yeah.
culture. I love incorporating the two as well. I think that like I
Yeah.
love putting like some of my personal narrative into like, oh, this is how it ties into our culture. So
Yeah.
when I read, I love to read stuff like that, like a lot of the writers on Medium. Like I love Katie Jagon, and
There's some of
Jessica Wildfire does like a really good job with that too. Like I'm like, I have like a few favorites that I'm always like, I'm reading everything they write. But I'm
yeah.
always looking for more, if people write in that style, and I'm hoping that Medium's algorithm can kind of adjust more to like what the reader is reading as opposed to like
Yeah.
what's popular and stuff, because I really do go for the same kinds of like style. So I'd love to see more of it.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, because I think it's like the weekly wrap up that Medium usually sends you. I feel like I get more of
Yeah.
the content there that I'm like, yeah, I'd be into this.
Yes.
I find that kind of helpful, and then I kind of go down my own little rabbit hole, like, oh, I've read this person, then someone else comes up with a suggestion, and then I just end up in this whirlwind, and I'm like, wow,
Oh,
how did I
totally.
get here like 30 minutes later?
Right? Oh my God, it can be crazy, especially if you're going through like short form essays.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'll just read the next one too. Oh, the next one. But yeah, it usually has to do with either some kind of like cultural commentary, media, if it has to do with like one of the like the movies that just came out or books that I've read, like I'll read something about that, because I love critique as well. But usually it's just like I'll go into like if someone's telling a story or if someone's making a bold statement. I love when it's like a headline that's like telling you like exactly, like hitting you in the face with what they're about to tell you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. And as they say, that is the best way to get more readers, having that in your face, hot headline, to,
Yeah.
engage. So I get that. I'm still working on that part also for
I
myself.
try, yeah, I try to do that and I think I'm getting better, but like honestly, I also try not to like stress too much about the headline, because like ultimately I'm just like, I need to say what I need to say. And like, if I can't find the right words, like, I need to stop having anxiety about that. Just put it out and see who is drawn to it. You
Yeah.
know?
And at the end of the day, you're gonna find your people will find you, and
Yeah.
it'll be okay. The ones that are supposed to understand, they will.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
is there anything in pop culture right now that you either heard or read
Oh, it froze again. Can you hear me? I think it might come back to
that
me.
you're like,
Oh, okay. I think you're back.
cool?
So, were you asking me about like pop culture moments right now that are like
that you would want to edit? Like, have you seen or read something from a celebrity that you were like, I wish I could edit that, or I would have edited them, and then how?
Oh, like an editorial, like something that a celebrity wrote.
Yeah, either something that they've written or that you've heard them say that if it were you and if you were the editor, you would have edited them in a certain way.
Oh, that's a good question. Oh my gosh. That's a good question. I want to come back to that because I
Okay,
can't think of one right now. So
cool.
you're saying like something that a celebrity said that was profound, but like I would have said it differently. Is that what
Yeah.
you're? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to come back to that one because I
Okay.
feel like definitely I'm always looking at what celebrities say.
And it's like, dang it, why didn't you say it this way?
I
I know
know.
sometimes I have those moments in my head and it's like, no, why did you say it that way? You could have said it 1,000 other ways.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like I'll have those moments when I'm on Twitter, although I have been off Twitter. So the question comes at kind of a bad time because I had to get off of Twitter completely. But
Yeah.
I'll act like I'm a publicist for these people. I'm like, oh my God, they should not have said that. Or like,
Right.
they could have said it in a totally different way. Twitter makes me angry anyways because it's just like people are just coming at people all the time instead of just saying like genuine, authentic, like um either if it's like an apology or if it's just like um people just forget compassion all the time. So
Yeah.
honestly, that's just one thing I would incorporate into although I can't think of an example right now. If I was a publicist or editor for a celebrity, like I would just try to incorporate like a little more perspective, a little more compassion into a certain quote, or just like think about it this way, think about the person on the other end of this, like what they would think and what kind of situation they could be in. It's like I guess my philosophy is just like the world like is not your world. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not your world. It's like
Yeah.
everyone else is living there. And it's kind of like a different world for everyone.
Mhm.
Everyone has their own way. So I would just kind of think about it that way when I edit a celebrity in the future.
Cool. So how do you find the balance in, because you mentioned that you do and you participate in a bunch of different projects, like a lot of blog writing. So how do you find the balance with the two to keep your editing mojo up?
It's been difficult, especially in the summer, because I'm also trying to just like build my own freelance account, like my profile as well.
Right.
um and I haven't been doing Eternal Metamorphosis as much. I do have to do I do like the monthly fundraiser, so sometimes it slips away. And with ADHD, I don't honestly know how I even, I mean, I know why. I mean, with ADHD you come up with all these ideas and then you just
Right.
kind of go off the deep end when when you try to bring them all to fruition. But I managed to when Megan was like, oh, we need a co-editor, I was like, you know what, why am I not an editor? You know, I've been on
Yeah.
for a year and I love modern women. I could be an editor, if especially if they need extra help. So I was kind of just like, you know, this could be a good thing for me, this could be a good thing for them. I'll try to take it on, especially because she said it was going to be flexible too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the nonprofit group that I work with, Say It Loud, is also very like, it's not like very time consistent. Like it's not I'm on a schedule.
Okay.
I am also volunteering my time, so it's also, she's a little more lenient about that. It's basically I sign up when I have like a post that I want to submit.
Okay.
And so it's very freelance, it's very like flexible. But I guess it's just like I have to find things that work for me, and if there was something that was too overwhelming, I would have to say like um I can't commit my time to this. So that's why I'm very like selective, like with with which projects I'm putting my energy towards. And that's why honestly for the summer I haven't been writing as much on my own profile.
Okay.
Not only is readership down, so it's kind of time to just stop. I've been traveling a lot, which is important. Good to take like a break.
Right.
I've been
Where have
trying.
you been?
Yeah, I know.
To?
I've been also trying to earn money in different ways because obviously with Medium, it's not super reliable in the summer, or
Yeah.
it's not super reliable most of the time, but
Yeah.
for income, that is.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to, I do DoorDash, I do all this other gig work and stuff like that. So I try to do that and just whatever is going to be, I'm always like readjusting my focus and my brain. And obviously that's hard with ADHD, but I'm always just trying to say, what is the next step that will get me to my next goal? And I do have long-term goals, which are about my writing career. And I do love writing, but ultimately I have to think about like, how am I going to support myself right now?
Yeah.
What's the best way? And it can change from moment to moment while I still have those goals. I think it's really important to have long-term and short-term goals.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing one of your long-term goals?
Yeah. So actually one of my long-term goals, and this was like a year goal that I had set last year or like on January, to get to 1,000 followers on Medium. So that's just like it's a long-term goal, but it's like a smaller goal. And it's just something that I thought I would be able to do by the end of the year. And right now I'm almost there already. I'm at 900 and something.
Nice.
So I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
I have a content goal, which is I think I've posted 77 articles or poems or however many, whatever content, 77 content. So I have 77. I do want to get to 150 by the end of the year. That's like a little bigger, but I do think it's possible. I had like a lot of ideas started this summer, but I just haven't like finished them. So I'm thinking that I could finish them by the end of the year.
Yeah. Sorry, I love your idea of a content goal because I don't know why I never thought about that or even just thought about it, but I just love how that sounds. Because it's like, okay, you give yourself, just this is the number I want to reach, and that's what you're going to work towards. And content, I feel like these days content is everywhere. You go outside and there's some form of content that someone can kind of relate to. So I definitely like that. I might even borrow that.
I mean, it's not an original thought. Like I just see all these articles on Medium and they're like talking about like, if you want to get to this, amount of income, you have to have this amount of articles. And it's just like, obviously I take those with a grain of salt because everyone's journey is different.
Right.
But I did also want to say, okay, so what am I looking at though? Like, what do I think would be based on my numbers, based on what I make on like per article, and what articles are still making money after however long,
Yeah.
It might be good to have 150, like you never know. Like 77 is like, okay, I'm making like some change and like some money. And it's like with 150, that's going to be almost, it's going to be double what I have right now almost. So
right.
A lot better. And so the crazy thing is, I don't want to get too hung up on like numerical goals because I've already made it to the $100 mark. I've already made it to the $200 mark. Doesn't mean it's going to stay there. It doesn't stay there.
Yeah.
If I'm like hard on myself about that, it's just going to not be good for my creative process.
Yeah, because those numbers, yes, numbers are important because they say you can't really measure anything or improve if you're not quantifying it by a number. But again, a number is just a number and it's going to fluctuate. I mean, if you're not getting any engagement or just like some kind of feedback, then it's like, okay, well, how impactful am I really? You know, so
You're right. And it's like, obviously right now I've only posted one thing this month, and I can see it was like drastically, and it was the poem too. So, and those don't usually make a lot of or gain a lot of like views, but I love poetry, so I don't care.
yeah.
But it's just like I could see my numbers, like it was just like reads per day, reads per 30 days. It went down by like thousands in a few days.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh my God, how is that happening? Or not thousands in a few days. It was like a week or so, and it went down by 1,000. I was like,
oh wow.
Summer is just like nobody's reading right now.
Yeah, everybody's traveling.
Yeah, and it's fine. That's not my fault. That doesn't mean I'm not doing well. It just means like it's not a good time to post things maybe, and it's not, so I'm not like killing myself to get like deadlines. You know? It's just like, I'll do that in the fall.
That is fair. And then anyway, it'll
Oh, I lost you again. I don't know what keeps happening.
it'll come back. Okay, come here.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I don't know. My internet has been the last 2 days, it's been a little weird. So I don't know if that's too many people in my area online, what that issue is, but it's okay. And then last question, what tips do you have for any writers out there, whether they're novice, they've been doing this for a while, that you've seen that could be beneficial for them? Like if they want to self-edit, what advice would you give?
For self-editing, definitely you have to get like a software or something. You don't have to pay money for it, but just to have like some kind of spelling, grammatical software. There are many that you can choose. I use Grammarly because trust me, without that thing, like my eyes miss so much. Even if it's my own stuff, it doesn't matter how many times I read it. Like, I rely on that.
I do too.
And you know what? You don't have to always make the corrections too. Like, also, this is definitely something I would say. When people give you feedback, when an editor gives you feedback, it's okay to take it in, but you can also leave a lot. You can leave whatever you don't agree with, not to be like conceited about it, or like, oh, I know, like you can, but that's with education, that's with teaching in any sense of it, like not just editing. But like, you can take information and also listen to your gut, like, oh, I still want to say this. Like, you're still an expert in writing. Like you are, I mean, maybe not like, maybe you're a beginner, but like if you still have, like, you're an expert in your story, you're an observationalist, you're doing something, you're telling us something, and you know the context that maybe your editor does not. So keep that in mind. It doesn't mean to ignore everything, all the feedback. It doesn't mean to take it as criticism. That's another thing. Don't take it as criticism, because it's not. Like, nobody's behind their keyboard saying, how can I ruin this person's day? It's really just to clean things up and just to give you tips. You can take it or you can leave it. It doesn't mean like what I'm saying or what your editor is saying is gospel. Like, you have to trust yourself, and you have to trust others too.
Cool. So. Have you had any negative experiences with giving feedback? Did anyone try to say, no, this is what I want, or just not receive criticism bad? I mean, well,
I don't think so. I can't remember any. I think that it's just when people don't agree with me, they either don't say something, they don't say it, or they just I don't know. No one's ever voiced to me that they didn't like really like what I said. Okay. So I just like feel it sometimes when I get editing like feedback. Sometimes I feel like a little twinge, and I'm just like, oh, oh my gosh, I was totally wrong, I look stupid, or like, oh, that was a little rude of them to say. And it's just like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're not trying to be rude. They're not trying, even if they are rude, like,
Yeah.
how much does it matter? You know, I wrote
That's
this.
true. You
I wrote
know?
this, and maybe they delivered this feedback in a rude tone, but take it with, like, take some of it in.
Yeah.
It could hold weight. You just have to like really just like marinate in it a little bit and take it
That's fair.
seriously, and then listen to yourself.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Alex, it was so great talking to you. Thank you for spending like the 30 minutes talking to me about editing.
Oh, thank you
And
for
yeah,
having
do you have any last minute words? Is there anything I can do to improve my interview skills or?
No, I love this. It was so friendly, so open, and it felt very easy, like very conversational.
Cool.
Very at ease. So
Well,
it's
awesome.
great. Yeah, thank you so much for interviewing me and for
You're welcome. Thank you for participating. And I look forward to you seeing, what I draft up and posting it to Modern Women's YouTube.
yeah, definitely. And so the mixer is going to be this Sunday.
Yeah, at
Is that, did you
1 p.m. my time, and I think for you it's
11 probably?
11.
Okay.
Yes. Because I think at first I got it backwards. I was like, oh wait, I'm 2 hours ahead, and I was really 2 hours behind. So Google straightened that out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think it'll be 11 for me then. Okay, so Sunday at 11, and the information is in the chat.
Yeah. If you need
Okay.
it again, I can just shoot it back over to you. It's not a problem.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on Sunday, hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye. Oh, my computer froze. Hold on.